Hey crafty peeps, I'm Lisa, your dollar mom, and I'm so excited that you came back to my channel today to check these 3 cute farmhouse kitchen DIYs out. Also, you can probably see behind me all this cute lemon decor, and I have posted 3 DIY videos of those so far, so check out my channel for those. And you know what, let's just get right down to these cute DIYs. Today we're going to make a kitchen decor, and this is going to be a little container to put on your kitchen counter. You could put salt and pepper shakers in this. You could put toothpicks. It's really, the options are endless. So this project, you're going to need one of these plastic cutting boards from the Dollar Tree, along with one of these little crates that I found in their craft section. Some white chalk paint. I use the Rust-Oleum Linen White, and a paintbrush. So first you're going to paint your cutting board. Now keep in mind, you really don't need to paint the center section because we're gonna Mod Podge some scrapbook paper over it, but I wasn't 100% sure at this point what I was gonna decorate with, so I just painted the whole thing. And you're probably wondering, it's already white, why am I painting it? Because it has a plastic shininess to it that just I didn't care for. So by putting white chalk paint on it, it just gives it that more rustic look. And then I'm going to paint outside and the inside of my crate. Now that my paint has dried, I am going to measure the inside of this cutting board. And I grabbed a piece of this buffalo check scrapbook paper from Hobby Lobby, and I'm going to measure it to the same measurements, and then I will Mod Podge it onto the cutting board. When I laid my scrapbook paper down, I noticed that the corners of my, the inside of my board were round. And so I just grabbed my corner rounder and rounded the edges of the paper. You can find this in your punch section of your craft store. I've literally had this punch for about 20 years. Or you can just use your scissors to round the edges. Now I wanted to put the word eat on this, and I found this Valentine metal thing from the Dollar Tree, obviously from Valentine's Day, and I realized it had the letters I needed, so I just cut the word eat out of the word Valentine. Now there is endless options here. Dollar Tree does have stickers, they have rub-ons, and so you really could use lots of different things to make these letters. I just wanted to use what's in my stash, and it's going to be a long time before Valentine's, so I might as well use these. Now I'm going to put a coat of black paint on these, and I just tap it on. If you rub it on, brush it on, it doesn't stay on as well, so I tap it on. I'm also going to add some black paint around the rim of this crate just to add a little bit of interest. And then I'm going to work on my bow for this project while everything dries. So I got out a couple different ribbons to see what was going to work. I thought buffalo check was just a little bit much, so I'm going to try to make kind of something that will be interesting but not all the same, if that makes sense. So I just tie a regular bow, and then you'll see that I will just add a few things to make this a beautiful bow. I zoomed in here so that you will hopefully get to see how I make these kind of bows. I do this a lot when the print is only on one side, and it's just kind of an easy bow, and you can make the tails a different ribbon. You just basically make a circle with your ribbon, you squeeze it in the middle. I'm going to take something to wrap around the center. In this case, I use the same ribbon. I folded it in threes to make a small ribbon out of it. Put that around the ribbon, and then I added some different tails, and that is how I made this bow. Now it's time to adhere everything down. On the EAT, I use my E6000 because when you use the hot glue on metal, it often doesn't stick very well. Now I also use both E6000 and hot glue on my crate here. The hot glue just helps keep it in place. The E6000 keeps it stronger. And this cute little project is complete. I just think it's so cute. It goes in my kitchen so well. I'm really loving this one. For the next project, we're going to make some wall art, although you could just set it on your counter as well. I grabbed this charger and this wooden spoon and fork from the Dollar Tree. What I love about that charger is you don't have to do anything to it. It looks great all on its own. Now I'm going to add some black paint to these. One of my little methods is I just squirt paint right onto what I'm going to paint. Kind of helps make it a little easier. I tend to squirt too much paint on paper wherever I put it when I do it that way. So this kind of just helps me not waste paint. I'll set those aside to dry, and now I've printed these out, cut these out on my Cricut. This is only the second project I've made with my Cricut, and I struggled a little bit here. I think maybe I don't have the right transfer paper, I'm not sure. So I struggled a little bit with these smaller words, getting them all unstuck, so I kind of spared you my process there. And I will show you how I do it with the word love, because that one was way easier. And I just stick it to the middle of my plate. When my kids were little, they would say, "Mom, this tastes so good" at dinner. And I would say, "You know why? You want to know what the secret ingredient is?" And they'd be like, "What was it?" And I'd say, "It was love." And so when I saw this quote, I was like, that is exactly what I need in my kitchen, because that is always what I tell my kids. I made it extra special because I put love in it. Now it's time to add the spoon and fork. I will do this again with both E6000 and hot glue to keep it in place. Lastly, I will add the bow and the project is done. And I love, love, love this. I hung it on my wall with some command strips and voila. As you can hear, my dog is in the background saying hello, and sometimes you might see her in and out of the frame, but she's my little sidekick, and she doesn't want to go too far from Mama. For this last project, I am going to take this sign from the Dollar Tree. You can see that it is Halloween. These actually were 50 cents after Halloween, and I bought like, I don't know, 10 of them at least. Because these make great projects year-round, the mason jar. I do believe they have a mason jar right now for their 4th of July, so you should be able to find that sign now. So I just peel everything off of it, I prep it, and then I will be using a Dollar Tree placemat to make this next project. Now I'm going to cut this placemat up so that I can adhere it onto my mason jar sign. The live part was off to the side and I wanted it to all line up. So I cut this straight, and then eventually you'll see here I cut the E and love away from each other too to give it a little extra. At this point I'm not exactly sure how it's going to fit, so you're going to kind of see me fiddle around with how I'm going to get it all to fit on there. side to side, they're not going to touch each other. There's going to be a space in between each word. So I'm going to paint black in those strips so that when you see that space through, you'll only see black. Now I was trying to just get by with painting the strips, but then I kept having to move where I was painting, and honestly, if I would have just painted the whole thing, it probably would have been easier. So it's up to you, but I kind of lined it up and I painted the strips. And now it is time to glue these 3 strips from the placemat onto the mason jar sign. Okay, I didn't show this step, but I did quick and paint the lid from the purple that was there, and I painted it gray. I just did that by mixing some black and white paint. And then I will finish by adding the last strip to the sign. Okay, and now I'm going to flip over the sign and I'm going to cut off all this excess placemat so that it is just in the spots we need it. And you'll see here, I cut it once around and then I kind of go back and trim it up. And for the last step, of course, I have to add some ribbon. So I just have this small buffalo check ribbon that I picked up from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to glue a strip to the back, and then I'm going to tie a little ribbon, a little bow, and add that to the front, and this project will be complete. What I also love about this sign is that it is a placemat. So it's really durable kitchen decor because if anything gets on it, really you can just wipe it off. And so I just think it makes the perfect decor for your kitchen.